Hello and welcome to Sweetwater. I'm Mason Marangella from Vertex Effects, and today we're here with my good friend Dani Rabin from Marbin, and we're going to be talking to you about the Vertex Boost MKII. If you're familiar with our line of pedals, you know that one of our flagship models that's been out since almost the very beginning of our company was the Vertex Boost. And so we've taken one of our most popular products and we've consolidated it to almost half the size with the same exact features, and in fact some added features which we'll get into today, using all the great stuff that everybody knows and loves about this product and making it more pedalboard friendly. So what's different about the Vertex Boost MKII? As you can see, obviously the size is quite a bit smaller, almost half the size of the original. Another thing that we added to this one is a dual buffer to it. That means that there's a buffer on the input of the system and the output of the system. And I know what you're saying. How do you have an input and an output with separate buffers on them if there's just only one series of input and output jacks? There's actually an expression jack on the back of this, just like there was on the original one, and the only difference is we've consolidated from using a 1/4-inch TRS for the insert and moved that to an 1/8-inch stereo jack for the insert. Still, any sort of insert cable would work on this. Any sort of Y cable, any sort of TRS that goes 1/8-inch to 1/4-inch would all work fine if you were going to connect this to an external volume pedal or an external expression pedal. But one thing now, because of the dual buffer, you can also connect this to external pedals and have those inside of the low impedance input and output buffer in the Vertex Boost itself. You can connect a volume pedal to it, eliminating the tone suck of any volume pedal, or you can even use an expression pedal as your volume pedal by connecting to it. You can use it to bring in external effects, either using it as an audition loop or using it as an entire interface for your pedal board with a high quality input and output buffer at the beginning and end of the boost when you're using things in that effects chain. You can also use it in your effects loop or use it as an active effects loop to turn your passive loop into an active loop inside of your amplifier. But the primary thing that makes the Vertex Boost so special is that it solves multiple problems. It has the dual buffer, so you're getting the highest quality, low noise buffer that's out there. It can really drive any impedance, and it can really take any level on the input. It can take line level, instrument level, but the other problem that it really solves is the issue of volume pedal tone suck. Originally, we designed the Boost with the intention that you would insert a volume pedal into it, so not only could you control your volume as you normally would, but it eliminates the volume pedal impedance from the signal path. No matter which volume pedal you use, they are all going to sound identical in exactly the same way as your guitar, plugged directly into the amplifier, but now you have this ability to taper from silent up to unity gain, and then if you hit the boost, now your volume pedal automatically recalibrates up to whatever the amount of boost that you've set. But enough talking about it, let's actually hear how it sounds. So our setup today, we have a beautiful American-made Fender Stratocaster, also a Fender Hot Rod Deluxe that we're all going to be using with the Vertex Boost. I'm going to have my buddy Dani Rabin play a little clean part, and I just want to show you the transparency. I'm going to turn it all the way off, and I'm going to click it on and off as he's playing, and you're going to hear that there's not going to be any tone change at all. It's not going to change the volume at all. This is really showing you how it doesn't change a thing about the core essence of the tone.
It was pretty much identical.
Yeah, there's really no color to this thing, and sort of the beauty of what the Boost does is what it really doesn't do to your tone. For people that have sounds that they already like, it's not going to change the character of what you have, it's just going to make it louder. But let's hear what it does at a little bit louder volume. I'm going to go up to halfway now. So as a player, Dani, what are you kind of getting from this?
I always use a boost in my rig. I have the big version, but I actually think that this is going to be more pedalboard friendly for me from now on. But I really like how it just basically doesn't affect the tone. I personally have a guitar I really like, an amp I really like, a pedal setup I really like, so I'm really not looking for any color from boosts. I just want my amp but louder. And especially for clean tones, it does a really good job of keeping the tightness of the bass and putting a lot of sparkle on the tone. So I tend to use it, I would say, 90% of the time when I'm playing clean.
You know, we oftentimes associate boosts as kind of being this utilitarian sort of item that we're not using the same way as we would as a distortion pedal, but really they can be a really, really great way to just bring more out of your tube amplifier. Even though this isn't changing the core tone, hitting the front of the amp harder with a little bit more output can get those preamp tubes to really work a little bit harder, get them to saturate a little bit better, and gives you sort of that touch sensitivity that you would want out of your tube amp without maybe having to go all the way, you know, to 10 on it. But let's talk now about some of these extra features by way of the 1/8" expression or insert jack. I'm going to show you how I insert a volume pedal now into this. Ordinarily, if you put this boost in with a volume pedal and didn't put the volume pedal in the loop of the boost, it would sound pretty awful. But with this, no issue whatsoever, absolute transparency with any volume pedal that you can think of. This is an Ernie Ball 25K version, and I have this connected to the Vertex Boost now by way of the 1/8" expression jack, and then I have it going in to the volume pedal with just an insert cable. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I engage the boost, and now my volume pedal, instead of going from silent in the heel position to unity gain in the toe position, it's now going to ramp up to the amount of dB boost that I've set on the boost when it's engaged. It's almost like being able to have a preset volume that you can control with the volume pedal, using it as an expression. And as I said, you can either use a volume pedal or an expression pedal. Both of them will serve the same purpose when using the Vertex Boost by way of the expression insert in it. So I've gone back to the totally 0 dB boost. Let's just hear it in and out. I'm not hearing any difference there.
Same.
Volume pedals
Very
in.
much the same.
If we were just going straight into this volume pedal with the boost off, it would be gnarly.
Yeah.
But we have it through the expression port. It's using a Y cable here. It sounds absolutely great. But let's move it back up to maybe about 10 dB over unity gain. And I'm going to show you how we're able to kind of toggle between these two positions. So let's go off here, Dani. So we just heard its standard volume swells, went to the heel down position, gets quiet, go to the toe down position, gets louder. But now I'm going to engage the boost. So you heard there, as soon as I engage the boost and we're in the toe down position, the volume pedal now tapers up to 10 dB over unity gain. And when I hit it down, turn it off, and I go back to the toe position, it's at unity. And again, I don't even need to move it at all. If I just turn it off, it would be at unity gain if I left the volume pedal as is. But it really allows us to taper between two positions, which is really great. And I can just use the volume pedal to have complete control over my rig and really determine the maximum output. What are you feeling on this one, Dani?
Oh, I love it. I mean, I use the swells all the time, and I always need a tiny bit more than just, you know, the volume pedal would give me. And for me personally, using volume pedals, my biggest problem is tone suck.
Yeah.
So this kind of maintains the brightness at every level of the sweep.
Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't matter whether you're using the boost first in the chain, last in the chain, or somewhere in the middle. Its functionality with the volume pedal will work exactly the same, irrespective of that. But I want to show you some other ways that you can use it, which are a little different from the original version, where I can actually put any device that I want into this loop through the expression jack or the insert jack. So I'm going to grab one of our Vertex Overdrive pedals. I'm going to put it in place where the volume pedal is, and I can put basically an overdrive pedal in the effects loop of the boost. So now we've got our Ultraphonics Overdrive in the insert loop or the expression loop of the boost. Basically, you can put anything that you want in this. You can actually even put your entire pedal board chain into this expression loop or this insert loop in the boost and have the ability of the dual buffer, because again, you have a buffer on the input and then you have a buffer on the return from the expression. So you can actually buffer your whole rig appropriately the way that I always recommend people do for 1 meg input impedance, 100 ohm output impedance. And we've got this guy wired into it. So let's hear what that sounds like. This is going to work as normal, and then we can use the boost to boost in the effects loop of this.
I really like that. That was really good. Yeah, I mean, I honestly don't play through a hot rod ever because they're very neutral. They're like the perfect kind of blank canvas. I like a lot of color from my amp, and for this kind of setting where you're just going into just a clean slate, this is kind of enough to play the gig.
Yeah.
And usually I would need a dirty channel, an overdrive on that, and then the boost, but like inside the insert of this, it's fine because you get all the gain you need from this pedal, and then you can just bring that color up.
Right, right.
You know?
And if you wanted to add more stuff, literally you would just, daisy chain one into the next in series of the pedals that you wanted, and then just the return jack here would go from the last pedal, bring it back into the insert of the boost. Just so many different things that makes it incredibly versatile in more than just any other boost that's out there. Plus, it doesn't change your tone, and that's like the key thing. You don't want to have something that's going to change the core element of your pedals, of your amplifier. It's just going to give you more volume, as though you walk back to your amp and turn it up.
Yeah, and for me in my fusion gigs, this is home because I use the Ultraphonics in my rig and the boost, so I'm very used to this kind of sound for
Absolutely.
my dirty tones.
Absolutely. Now, one other thing that's a little bit different about the Vertex Boost MKII from the original one is you can actually use this as well in an effects loop. And you can also do another cool thing with an effects loop where if you have a passive effects loop, you can use the Vertex Boost to turn it into an active one. So you no longer have that tone suck associated with using effects into a passive loop. All you do is simply connect the input and the output of the boost to the send and return of your effects loop amplifier. Then you take the insert cable like we've used here, you bring that down to your pedal board, already converted to low impedance, and that's now the send to the first pedal in the effects loop chain from your amplifier, and the return goes from the last pedal output of your effects loop chain, and allows you to have a low impedance buffered effects loop so that none of the effects in your signal chain that are wired into the loop have any consequence tone-wise, no tone suck whatsoever. Plus you get the ability to be able to boost, so you can add some level, hit your power amp a little bit harder. So a very cool thing about this that's a cool differentiator from the original Boost MK1. So that was the Vertex Boost MK2. As you can see, it can be used in a myriad of ways. You can use the expression port as sort of a multi-jack for all different sorts of things. If you want to check this pedal out or learn any more about the Vertex Boost, definitely talk to your Sweetwater sales engineers, and they're going to give you all the information that you're going to need, all the different connectivity options. They're really going to know how to help you fit this perfectly into your rig and get all the transparency that you're going to need. Until next time, I'm Mason Marangella from Vertex Effects, and this is my good friend Dani Rabin from Marbin, and you've been watching the Vertex Boost MK2. See you later.